placed in 2015 and the number of students who have been placed now. All that data will be shared. Mr. Sasu is here. He does a wonderful job. Can you clap for him? He's a good guy who does great work for this country, and we are very proud of the work that you have done over the years. I will see the space. Oh, there's a parent. Yeah, let me take the call. Are you calling from the Rotary? You are speaking with the Minister for Education this morning. You are blessed. I'm also blessed speaking with you. What issue do you have, sir?
Unfortunately, she was placed in Odogono as a day student.
Oh, you are from the Volta region. What town in the Volta region, please? You are at Ho, and your child has been placed at Odogono as a day student.
Yes, please.
So obviously you need a boarding status, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, can you give me your child's name, please?
010
Oh, you give me the index number. 010 36 16 044. And can I repeat it for you, please? 010 36 16 044.
Yes.
And the name is? And the last name?
Clementina.
Oh, Clementina.
Yes, sir.
Johnson Clementina. Long name. Okay. And then the school is Odogono, right? And you need boarding.
Yes.
Okay, good. What's your number, please, so that I may be able to call you back in case?
My number is
0244
74
74 68. Okay, can I repeat the number? 0244 7468. Hello?
0244 7470 68.
Good. I have your number. We're going to work on the request by Beatrice, yourself or Beatrice Clementina, and my staff will get back to you. As soon as they do it for me, I'll love to call you back and speak with you. But thank you so much for calling the call center of the Ministry of Education, where the minister responded to your call. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we are done. So I'm going to pass this on to our staff at the Solutions Center to take care of this. And make sure we do this for him immediately, please, day to boarding for Odogono, right? And then we'll report back to him so that he will know that we've solved the challenge. I think this is what we've been doing every day. We truly appreciate it. It's fun, but when it's so many of them, I'm sure it gets stressed a bit. But I'm just doing. All right, so I've done my first call.
Minister, there is another call for you.
Another call for me.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, this is the Minister for Education taking your call at the Ministry of Education call center.
Wow. I'm just what they say. I'm so grateful. Please, I'm calling in regard of feedback I received yesterday from a re-entry student.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. My ward was route last year.
Uh-huh.
And I received a
printer, yes, you can. You need to go there as soon as possible because you know school has opened. So once you have your letter, go to the school immediately.
Thank you very much, sir. We are much grateful for you.
Very, very grateful. I'm glad you called. I'm glad I'm the one speaking with you.
Thank you, sir. We are much happy.
All right. Thank you. All right. Done 2 calls. Another one? All right. That's my last one, right? Hello? How are you? Oh, this is not Madam anymore. This is the Minister for Education responding to your call. How can I help you? I'm doing very well, sir. What's the investment cost? That's a very unique name. And referring to this number, right? Is there a popular? Hello? You gave me this number, right? 02. Yes, please. 02. Is that not the latest number? What is it? That is the, yeah, that's the latest number. Also, right. Yes, right. Thank you so much. I will get that from you shortly. All right? We'll get that. Thank you so much.
I see a friend. We have to be there. Parents. What's your number? Maybe a friend. Okay.
Okay. All right. The event is about the placement, right? So you'll be going to be talking about the placement.
Is it the statistics? The statistics?
Oh, no, we know.
I know. I know the statistics.
Yeah, sure. Done. Who are you? Okay, then go ahead. Speak to them.
Demonstration of what actually happens here is so
Demonstrate.
Okay, so thank you.
I am very happy that today we are going to witness a day like this. Prior to the president's time, there was a lot of pressure on us. But because of our hard work and the Honorable Minister's guidance, we've been able to come to this far. And let me tell you that since 2017 that we started placements, we have placement, post-placement activities like this. And I would like to recommend and appreciate the effort of Honorable Dr. Dow of SHS. But before I go on, this placement actually preceded with test for confirmation. When I say test for confirmation, is for the parents and the general public and the candidates. And we earmarked about 10 days for this exercise. It was also completed successfully by your cooperation and your hard work. Now then we came to the placement exercise itself. I think the placement was actually released on the 17th of March. And we will not need to operate smoothly.
Hello?
And if you may permit me,
Good
I'd
morning,
like
sir.
to put some statistics
Yes, sir.
behind this year's
Calling
placement.
from?
This
Yes.
year, we have 917
Yes.
schools in all quartiles. Out of this, 218 were coming from Siemens.
They are going to do one?
Yeah. Out of this 918, 917 schools, the total vacancies that were declared were 705,
So
327. And the total number of candidates that were presented is
what's the name of your ward? What's the name of your ward?
547,329. So
How do
if
you spell
all this 547,000 even goes to the school, enroll in the school, we have some spaces left.
M.A. in Bama.
So we have about 188,782.
Bama. And then index number.
So looking at these spaces that are left,
0.
no students should complain that,
0,
or
1.
no school should complain that they are overcrowded.
0, 1, 0.
We have
3, 4.
188,782
5, 5.
spaces.
0, 1, 1. So 0, 1, 0.
Now,
3, 4.
the total
5,
is
5.
here, the total
0, 1, 1.
is
Is it 0, 1, 1? Okay. And what school is he at now?
The enrollment number is 412,000,
And you want-
representing 80% out of now. Those who have enrolled in the schools are 80% out of
So,
now. Then
what school did he
enrollment
choose?
is 291,305. Those who have enrolled in days 120,000.
Okay. In Bama, Accra Academy. And
looking at this,
the number can reach you at
you can say that this year's placement has been very successful. And the main reason why the Honorable Minister
02043
is here is to ensure that at least
5
we achieve our target of 90%
54
or 95% enrollment in school.
060
With Honorable Minister,
020
with
4354
your good guidance,
06.
I would like to assure you that
Good. And your name?
the targeted enrollment that
Okay.
you have.
We are going to work on it for you. Okay. We'll get back to you. All right. Okay.
Now this year, a call center 2 was set up. 50-seater call center was actually set up. And as a result, the initial or the first week, we were receiving more than 7,000 calls per day. More than 7,000 calls per day. As it is coming, then the calls were dropping out. So I can assure you that from the time or the 1 month that we have engaged in the call center, we have received more than 300 and something thousand calls. And as a result, we have been able to resolve more than 80% of the challenges that we experienced. What were the challenges? The challenges were those who want to change from what? Day to morning. Those who want to convert from what? From the grammar school to the TVET school. Those who just want, they are not interested in the school that we were giving, so they want to change the school. And we have 1 or 2 guests usually interested and we have been able to resolve all these problems. Honorable Minister, so this is the state that we find ourselves. We thank you for your good guidance, and I also like to thank you all for also your support, how you live, how you have been working hard to also support your faith. Thank you very much.
Let them talk about the experience. How to work with the parents. Let them talk about the experience. Yes. Good.
Okay, so we want to have an experience with the staff who are working with the trainer. Let us have an experience here and how the communication. So we randomly we want to have an experience from your end. We want to have an experience from your end. Okay, so come and share an experience. Most of them are automatically placed for, but they still say that they don't want the school, even though they choose the school themselves. What we realize is that maybe they choose the category A school, and then they feel that they are all together. So whatever school they choose from the second to the third choice, they just pick anything at all. So the minute they don't get the A school, then they are in a fix. So they will call and tell you that I don't want this school, irrespective of the aggregate that the child gets. And then some of them, when they don't get the grammar school, they want to go to bed instead. So they will call that they are not more interested in the grammar school, they rather prefer the experience. Others will do self-placement and then call to tell you that they are no more interested or they don't like the school that they themselves do. So we tell them that with their self-placement, you can change as many times as you can. Once is not going to be good. So these are the few issues I think I'm going to
What is here?
Thank you for that.
The whole idea is that you oversubscribe. We just give an overview of us and the content. So we can talk about that one.
Unless some of you want to talk about it.
One, doing the PR work that is trying to educate the public to explain Right, thank you very much. So we are looking at the technicalities in the business system and the call center exercise. The call center exercise involves two major works, that's the PR system and then the ticket. The PR system is actually to engage the parents and help them understand how the business system works. But we realize that most of the issues that came over the years, most of the issues that they call to complain about are not issues that are to work on the system. The parent actually needs explanation to the issue. For example, a parent may call and say, my child moves with their friend, they all have the same aggregates. The friend got to school, my child wasn't able to get to his or her first choice, so she actually landed in the second choice. So in this situation, the call center team got the same aggregate, but her child or his child chose the they chose different subjects or courses to offer in the school. And then two, they may differ in residential status. One may choose boarding and then one may choose day. So in this wise, if a child chooses for the first choice as day, and then the second one also chooses it as boarding, the possibility of the first person getting it as day is very high than the person choosing it as boarding.
Again, to somebody entering into a grade girl as science student will have to be in a higher competition than somebody who is choosing visual arts in a grade girl. So it means that if all parameters are set and then they are all equal, where the child's aggregate is the same, the two aggregates are the same, the school they chose are the same, the courses they chose are the same, residential features are the same, then it means that the vacancies in the school, if a grade girl is taking 100 students for science, and then your child happens to be the 101 person in the descending order of magnitude, according to their performance, your child will be cut off from entering into a grade girl. That also means that we don't have a specific cutoff point for every school. Where before placement, you find people saying, "As we drink for the cutoff point," it doesn't work like that. Every school and then the number of vacancies declared for the school will determine the last person who will enter in, and the aggregate actually the grade they have. So that is one side of the school system. The second, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. So there is a caller on the line. Apparently, you will recall that somebody called and the minister attended to him. The issue has been resolved, and what the minister is to do.
Oh, okay, Mr. Sari. Yeah, I'm glad to inform you that we'll resolve the issue and your child can go to school immediately. Thank you so much. You want to let that to speak with the minister? Yes. Yes. You will have to say, yeah, the amount. We have probably for number one. And then the over that. Or say that you're better. Yeah. And then I have to say that you're over to me. And actually, one, all the best to Elijah. Tell Elijah he can be the best. And everything that he said is managed to go to school and take advantage of another without going to violence that will get easy of free senior high school. Congratulations to you, Elijah. Thank you. If somebody wants to talk to me, I'll become a star here. Hello. Yes, sir. How are you, sir? Yes, we are not going to see. Okay, so many. Yes. Yes. On behalf of the council, I've gathered this headquarters. I go to see the director of construction, and he will facilitate the process for you. In fact, the entrance exam has been done already. I give the special situation, and you can make an exception for examining the class. Fairness, senior high school. So I come to the headquarters to see it and ask for the director of construction. He's a very nice guy. He needs to help me. Thank you, my brother, for doing that.
I got some wife losing in private school.
Honorable Minister, so as part of the process, we are not yet telling them what they are concerned. We make use of guidance and counseling from the guidance and counseling of the guidance. So I will happily call on the director in charge of guidance and counseling, what has to do as the guidance process and guidance for public affairs.
Thank you very much. The entire process requires guidance because it calls for selection and then placement. Stage of the whole process requires that the guidance coordinators and teachers engage the parents. And this is why I want to make an appeal that parents, when you are called to be in the school to get the guidance required in the selection of the schools, please humbly do so, because to a larger extent, if you go to the school to get the guidance, it will affect the challenges that you are going through with regards to the placement. So we will humbly wish that parents will also do that. We do the guidance for them and let them know the processes of the entire school selection thing. And we make them know that they should get in touch with the school authorities to know the children's ability, their interests, their strengths, and what they are able to do in the selection of their programs and in the schools. Please, if parents would get the guidance very well and adhere to it, we wouldn't have the challenges that some of them are going through, because if a parent is well informed and he or she is ready to listen and go through the process, it is a matter of priority. And what we've realized through the selection period is that parents are only concerned about the first choice for their schools, which they think that their wards should get it. The system doesn't work so. That is why there is that priority, there is that list according to priority. And it means that if your ward doesn't get to the first choice, you have another option of another school that is equally good for the child, and then another option in that order. So parents are here once again being appealed to that they should take their time. And also when it comes to the placement, because it's an automatic something, the system is prepared in such a way that the system obeys the selection that you, parents, with your consent, and then get the system, let the system work as it's expected. One thing that we've realized during this selection period is that most parents are not informed about even the schools that they are ward selected. And this is a humble appeal to all of you that please, let's go by the system so that we hope that come next year, we will not see the challenges that we've seen this year, because a lot of counseling, a lot of guidance, a lot of education has gone through the system, and we are hoping that the problem will be solved next year. We will not have it in that country. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Director. We will have another session from the Schools and Instructions Outfit from the Ghana Education Service. Director Ajimai, you are presenting.
I just want to stand on the presentation by the minister and add that for some parents, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the candidates who have been placed and who are in school. And it is the hope of the education service and the ministry that we take advantage of the free SHS and will come back and serve the country based on the investment that has been done. For some parents whose wards, for one reason or another, could not be enrolled, especially some people might have completed last year, there is that being, we call it the real policy. We were encouraged to report at the DSN policy.
Original office.
Or the regional office for the issues to be resolved. After this whole exercise, now that the Honorable Minister is here, congratulate all of us. GES and the ministry will now go to the schools and do physical count of the children to ensure that all the children who are in place are physically present, and we hand over the issue to the schools, continue to work with them, and ensure the successful stay of our children in the various campuses. Thank you.
So we are taking the closing remarks of the 21st Century Education. Dr.
I'm so glad that we're able to do this, and also the parents that I spoke with, I'm so glad I got the opportunity to speak with them. I've also been able to experience your work, so it's great to have that kind of experience. I think I can now put on my CV that I was a call center expert employee. I just want to, I should sit. They won't let me stand up. Parents of Ghana, if your child has not been able to report to school yet because you are waiting to get all the prospectus items, I want you to know that my headmasters want to see you at school immediately. So even if you don't have all the items, go to school. The headmasters can't wait to see you and welcome you to their schools. They don't want you to stay at home. Go to school with the little that you have. And if you are determined, one day you will tell your story of how you went to Odogono with your one shirt, one short, and the government gave you your uniforms, and then you say the rest is history. You tell the world that you didn't wait till you got all your items, and yet you went. So parents, send your children to school. Let's take advantage of the opportunity presented to us by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, and let us all embrace the free senior high school free TVET so you can change the future of your children. Thank you for all the sacrifices that you've made to ensure that we can get our children back to school. To our friends from the media, without you, we couldn't have dialogue with our country. I know there are some who call and say, I want to speak with the minister. And I got a chance to speak with them because they were watching us live on TV. So our friends from the media, we truly appreciate the work you are doing, guidance and counseling, every one of you from GS, also Free Senior High School office, the PRO guys, we appreciate your work. I thank you, and God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. So we are part of history. Good afternoon. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Media. Yeah, bring the different interaction with these.
Okay, so we've just had a coverage of the 2023 placement exercise by that has been led by the Education Minister, Dr. Yawosei Richum, and this is happening at the Education Ministry. Mind you, because as of the time that this issue happened, cited they wanted the awards to go to the various schools, but the issue has been that they've not been able to get placement to some of the schools. Some who also got schools, maybe a male got a female school, and also the grades that had issues. All these things had to be addressed before the placement will be done. Fast forward, the government has ensured that at least there's been a center created to hear the worries or the issues of parents and how that can be addressed. And today, in your shot, the Education Minister spoke extensively asking that parents whose wards are not in school yet, waiting for their prospectus, could go to school and later get their prospectus or the items they need in the various schools brought to them. Also, as of February 20, that is when the Ghana Education Service slated that students or pupils or people who had the chance to go to the various senior high schools should go to the senior high schools. But
thank you so much,
but as of all that, we will still give you updates on that. The minister is addressing the press outside. Let's bring you that feed.
President famously made a statement that you have not been a president before. You can't question him, you can't engage him. But this same person, now a former president, is trying. You don't understand why I'm being engaged. So my name has popped up in the media these days. But I want to tell you one thing. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's achievement in education is uncontestable. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's achievement in education is unmatched. In the last 14 years, great improvement has been made in the field of education in this country. Let me share some data with you, because I think data is black and white, it doesn't lie. In 2015, only 2% of primary 2 students in this great nation called Ghana could read. 2% of primary 2 students in 2015 could read. In 2022, under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 38% of our primary 2 students can read. On the WASI, English Language Arts, 45.2% passed in 2015. 60.39% passed. Then again, integrated science, 2015, 28.7% of our students passed. That is, they got credit, A1 to C6. 2022, A1 to C6, 62.45%. Let me move on to mathematics, my favorite subject. Because you know I was a mathematics teacher. Mathematics 2015, 32.4% of our students in this great country called Ghana passed. That is, they got credit, A1 to C6. In 2022, under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 61.39% got A1 to C6. Social Studies 2015, 57.4% got A1 to C6. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 2022, 71.51% passed. That is, they had A1 to C6. We don't count even the D7 and the E8. These are facts. You cannot contest this. The good people of Ghana knows that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is moving full steam ahead in education transformation. STEM schools are being oversubscribed. This is under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. 2015, look at placement and enrollment in senior high schools. 2015, 299,649 enrolled in senior high school. 2022, 465,000 students enrolled in senior high schools. Go to the great accomplishments that have been made. I want to give you specific school statistics. Presby Senior High School, Mampong, 2015, less than 1% of the students got A1 to C6 in terms of students who could move on to tertiary. 0.95% could move on to tertiary at Mampong Presby. Today, 2022, 57.68% can move on to tertiary. Once again, Odogono Senior High School, 2015, 10.34% were eligible to move on to tertiary. 2022, under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 46.05% eligible to move on to tertiary. Over and over again, the 0.20% were eligible for university entry. 2022, under Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, 43.12% are eligible for tertiary enrollment. This is the record. Records are who has done better in education in this country. Nana Danko Akufo-Addo record is unmatched. So if anybody wants to engage me as the Minister for Education, I don't have any record of my own. I have the record of Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, and the last 14 years is unmatched. Thank you so much.
Minister,
Thank you.
Minister.
So that is the minister's response to former President John Dramani Mahama, who made mention of the fact that if the minister is going to shut down non-performing schools, certainly these schools have to be equipped so that that will not be done. But the minister has come out to, well, clear the air on that, saying that comparing the former administration, that is the NDC administration, to the current administration, that is the NPP that government has done well in the education sector, among other things that he said that. But Jude, what is your quick comment on the CSSPS system so far? And now that the minister has also come out to say that, well, we've set up a center that will address the challenges of what parents have going forward, ensuring that these students or graduates from the basic schools or the junior high schools are able to get access into the senior high schools.
I mean, Philip, we all believe that key to breaking the cycle of endemic poverty in this country is education. So reason why people in leadership authority in the educational sector, we really plead with them not to politicize education in this country. For me, it's a great initiative by the Education Ministry to come together, put in place a robust system that seeks to address the challenges in the education sector, particularly with the school placement issues. I mean, prior to this, we had so many accusations and even to a large extent, some claims that the system in there is really not too transparent. And I quite recall the minister himself in an interview on Accra-based Peace FM, where he alleged that even people in very high-placed, like the former Director General of Education, the Ghana Education Service, claiming that certain passwords that only the Director General and the minister had were being accessed to place people unfavorably. And so for me, it was very important that very Ghanaian what the problem and the challenges and the way forward is, because I mean we agree that it will be very unfair to anybody to study very hard, go through the process, go through the examination, and at the end of the day you get your marks but you are not placed in a particular school because somebody somewhere sort of bypassed the system and got into your preferred school ahead of you. So I think it's a step in the right direction, putting in place a core system where people can call in and they are able to get answers to their challenges in real time. Is a step in the right direction. So for me, I was happy this exercise has happened. But looking or watching through the process, really, my only concern is that it doesn't appear as some sort of public or publicity gimmick, in that it is for the cameras, really. And at the end of the day, when the cameras are not there anymore, then it's back to factory settings.
Well, this one. When you go to some of the centers, for instance, when you go to the Nut Hall around the Ridge area, a center was also created there to hear parents, guardians on the challenges concerning the CSSPS.
That was also a great initiative. I mean, we must admit, we saw from our reports, news bulletin reports on the CNR, how parents were taking advantage of the system to get their schools off. So like I'm saying, it's a great initiative. My only concern is that looking at how the minister, I see, to an extent, you have an education minister who is quite charismatic. He has a lot of charisma in him. He knows how to get things done. So one time he's visiting a school, he's eating with them in their dining hall. The next time
he knows the process.
He knows the process, like he
the next time he's in a village school somewhere engaging students. So I'm not surprised by his decision to be personally there. My only concern is that when the cameras are not there anymore and the education minister is not in the call center, the placement call center, what is really going on there? And for me, another concern, we saw people use their personal phones to be making phone calls and all of that when there was an established call procedure. So for me, like I'm saying, I hope this is not a publicity gimmick and that the ministry means well. I want to believe they really mean well in their attempts to rectify the challenges we've seen.
But the minister, when he was at the center, received some few calls. Out of the few ones he received, some of the challenges were addressed immediately.
Yeah, like I'm saying, you expect some of these things to happen, right? So we saw him engage some parents via the phone lines, and he comes back to say, okay, well, we've checked your problem, and it's been rectified. Towards the end, his closing remarks, I mean, he made some very profound statements. So he goes on to say that, see, no child should be left behind. Any child who's written the exams and had their grades should be made to go to school. Money and some other challenges that can be resolved at the placement center should not be a hindrance. For me, that was quite profound. That was very important that he made mention of it. Only that towards the tail end of it, we saw some politics come into play. And for me, that is where I sort of draw the line. And I've always said that, see, when we talk about education...
Is it when he did the other press conference by speaking to the media?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, that has to do with the response to the former president.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, there's been issues with the shutting down of non-performing schools, and that the former president has also come out to say that, well, if you say that there are issues with the non-performing schools, you are needed for these schools to go on. You have to provide them. You wouldn't want to say that you shut them down when you're not coming to provide them with the needed equipment.
I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, but my concern is that at this point, considering everything that's happened, it's a placement exercise, and to an extent, it's a national sort of process or national events that is going on to address some of the challenges students have. So I didn't see it as a platform where a lot of politics. In the past, we had a president that had said that if you've not been a president before, don't criticize. I mean, all of those comments that we've become to know of it. So for me, I think, I mean, going back to the original idea behind this, I think the Ministry of Education deserves some credit. Only that, in my opinion, it didn't come out as properly organized, really. So,
well, the officers also who were at this event made some remarkable statements by saying that, well, the education on this CSSPS will be intensified because maybe some parents do not really get the idea that, okay, before your ward will get to the school, or comparing one student to the other, that, okay, fine, my child has gotten a school, but the other person's child hasn't gotten a school, but it had the same grade. You should check first the course that the child is going to read in that particular institution, and also the residential status. The official stated that if the residential status should be that one person is choosing boarding and the other person is choosing day, that means it doesn't really tally, or it doesn't really, it's not together, as in you wouldn't be able to get the same institution as the other person has gotten, though you have the same grade. So I think that they were basing more on the education. What do you make about this? I think that education, if intensified going forward, can resolve some of these issues.
I mean, Philip, I was quite impressed that in their thinking going on about this particular placement exercise coverage we just witnessed on TV, they sort of plan it in the way that they brought certain people, like we saw the Director General in charge of counseling, to come and explain to parents, particularly the steps and the processes available to them, the options in terms of resolving their challenges. For me, that was also great to see. So it's not like only the minister and his PR are doing the talking, but other people within the system who also play, in my estimation, a very crucial role, are also speaking on this. So for me to see the head of the counseling unit at the Ghana Education Service come out to explain to parents how to go about the process when they have challenges, for me was also very important. But like Philip, like I said, I mean, in the year 2022, the Education Ministry was one of the ministries that had a tough time, really, with regards to so many challenges. We saw issues coming up with feeding in senior high schools. We saw issues coming up with teacher remuneration. At the university level, book and research allowance was a big issue.
The double track system
became an issue. Yeah. Teachers had to go on strike as a result of COLA. So many things bedeviled the education ministry that it became a very difficult year for them. So it wasn't surprising at all when at the beginning of this year, the education minister in a press conference with the media mentioned that it's going to be a much more stable and a much more calm year for the ministry, all things being equal. So for a lot of us, we were looking forward to that, except that to some extent in the early part of the year, students I was looking forward to hearing a further breakdown, because it will be very hard to believe that all of this 165,000 students would have had their cases resolved. So I was looking forward to hear what the ministry had done to cater for these numbers that had to undergo self-placement. We talked about the fact that, see, going into the academic year, considering the time where schools were considering the time that students had to go to schools and as compared to when the results came, the notice was quite short. In a space of about 5-7 days, we expected students to go to schools when there was some delay, some considerable delay in the release of schools. For me, I think we for teaching and learning, in that now the academic calendar is very crammed up, and now you don't get the full weight of it going forward. So for me, I think it was a great initiative, but beyond this, I want to hear the minister on some other very important challenges within our education system. As you all know, COVID really hit our education sector very hard, and post-COVID, teaching and learning, especially in very public and low-income private schools, has not been the same. The widening gap continues to widen. The disparities, we are seeing it in very large proportions now. The introduction of EduTech has not been the same for people in rural Ghana. So there are so many challenges within the education system that a similar press briefing like this, a similar conversation with a minister like this is needed. He talks about the fact that enrollment is high. But when you listen to some other education, they tell you that, well, it's true. Enrollment in senior high school is on the rise. But can same be said of the quality? And for me, you would agree that a lot more needed to be done in that area. So for me, my remarks really, and my assessment of everything that has happened is that it's a step in the right direction.
Speaking on the enrollment, press hour in that particular briefing, it was stated that some 516 students have already been placed. But let's go to my colleague, Kennedy Chumesi, who is stationed at where the exercise took place. Kennedy, what can you tell us about the exercise that the minister embarked on? What did he really do as of today?
Yeah, so basically, Philip, it was a form of assurance and to familiarize himself with the school placement systems, as in where the personnel receive their course and work on the issues that parents have with respect to their school placement system. So basically, the Minister of Education assured that students and all persons who had issues with their school placement system, they are working effortlessly to ensure that they get a school of choice, and then whether they had boarding or day, indicated that over 90% of persons who enrolled in the senior high school who have been enrolled in the senior high school, and this is one of the achievements that he is really proud of, to even set up a call center and to have over 50 personnel on standby, getting parents' issues resolved immediately. If you recall, during the engagement, he also took instant and then spoke to some of the parents live, and their issues were resolved immediately. And he was really happy, parents were happy, and the Minister of Education is assuring that quality education when it comes to this government is something that they will ensure that everything moves in place. But I have the public relations officer of the Ministry of Education, Kweku Kwatinda, would want to engage him a little bit. But basically, he has been assuring that students quality education under the free senior school program. Let me just engage the PRO of the Ministry of Education. Everyone should take from the engagement today.
Apparently, it was in 2 phases, but practically, our focus is much on the placement and the enrollment. If we look at it, this is the first time that we had a Minister for Education apparently going into the placement center, particularly where they are fixing problems. And so you had the Minister, you saw the Minister picking calls, addressing concerns of people, addressing their very problems. And so, that is for us the most important. Of course, there are other matters where the Minister also spoke about STEM, the fact that STEM schools have been oversubscribed, and it is important to know that these are very new build schools that we just constructed, where you had an excess of over 2,000 students that has been placed in about 5 of them. Of course, you had about more than 7,000 students that applied to be in most of the STEM schools. But for the operationalization, we felt that it was good that we also allow most of the students who have interest to also compared President Akufo-Addo's achievement with that of former President Mohammed's achievement. And clearly, based on the statistics that he read, for instance, if you look at, for instance, in terms of English proficiency, before 2015, or even in 2015, when the EGRA was conducted, only 2% of Ghanaian students within the basic schools could speak and write and understand English language. But today, the NST proved that we have about 38% of our students who can read and write very well. Again, he also compared some figures, particularly when you look at the WASI figures, the outcome. If you look at from 2015, you compare that with 2022, and the difference was very wide. And for the records, it is only for the past, particularly within the free SHS batches, that you had consistently students getting A1 to C6 in all core subjects, at least 50% of those students passing. So, the facts are there, the data is there to demonstrate. For instance, if you look at the enrollment, for instance, 2015, you had about 299,000, an excess of 299,000 in school. Today, the minister mentioned that over 465,000 were in school last year, almost doubled. So clearly, the indicators or the when within the educational landscape or educational sector, it shows that President Akufo-Addo's achievement clearly is unmatched.
It's clear that this year there's been high enrollment, and the minister also indicated that parents who have not yet got all the items on their prospectus to go to the school, and then when they have the others, they can join in. But what's the measurements? How do you check if various senior high schools are charging or are requiring more on the prospectus, since the Ministry of Education is saying that go to school even if your prospectus are not enough? What's the measurements, even though there have been several calls that...
This year, for instance, GES regulated the prospectus in terms of the content or the items that should come on the prospectus. And so it was regional based. So because most of the schools, sometimes you may have even weather differences, weather conditions. So a school like maybe a school in the north may not require, for instance, let's say a pullover or cardigan.
So there was the Public Relations Officer of the Education Ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, having a conversation with Chumesi, that is Kennedy Chumesi, who is with me here in the City Newsroom. This is where we wrap up the Education Minister's speech on the 2023 placement exercise on City TV. My name is Philip Nilati. I did this with Jude Mensah Duncan. Many thanks for your time and keep watching City TV.